Howdy folks, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for joining me on this one. I want to say a huge thank you to Rattan, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Rattan Bikes, it's another e-bike company. They sent a bike over to me of my choice for me to give a go on, and I'm super excited to do that. We're going to get into the build process here in just a few minutes. And today's broadhead of choice for this hunting video is going to be the SEVR hybrid broadhead. As you guys know, I took a hog with this broadhead and I didn't have the results I was wanting or expecting. However, it was kind of a different shot placement, or unusual, I'd say. It's not where I typically decide to put my arrows. If you missed that video, there'll be a link down in the description below for it. You guys can check it out. The plan is to run it through a whitetail in this video, and I'm super excited to see how this SEVR hybrid is going to perform. As you can see there, it doesn't have this enormous fixed head, which I really like about it. That's still about a 3/4 of an inch cutting diameter. I don't know the specs exactly on it, but I'm really digging that it's still a mechanical, and I believe the mechanical portion of it is 1.5 or 1.75 inches. It's gonna be wicked. I can't wait to see what it does out of the 80-pound Matthews lift. I've used SEVR for years. I've used their 2.1 inch cut, which was the first broadhead that they came out with, if I'm remembering correctly. I've used the 2 for a lot of years, and then I've even used the 1 3/4 a lot as well. This is going to be a first with whitetail for the SEVR hybrid for me, so I'm excited to see how this one does. If it's anything like the other heads, we should have some pretty good results. But let's get right into this bike out here and get building on it. I'm actually going to set a timer for myself on this one just to see how long it takes me to put it together as compared to others. Here we go. From an unloading standpoint with the box, it's a much lighter bike than some of the others that I've had before, and I am a-okay with that. Nice little carry pouch. Once again, with all the tools that you need to put this thing together. It took me a minute to have the color grow on me, but I'm really kind of digging it. The deep blue with the light blue accents. It's really a pretty bike. I'm 20 minutes in, and I've got to say, right off the bat, one of my most favorite things about this is how few of tools that you need. Least amount of any e-bike that I've put together ever. That's pretty sweet. I'm really digging it, and then that's extremely convenient. First look, mostly put together. I didn't ever pay attention to this or think that it would matter much to me, but that battery being on the bottom side is very different. It's unique, and it saves you from kicking that thing whenever you're getting off and on, because your foot has to go right through that space right there. And while we're talking about this space right here, I'm really digging the design of the frame. That makes it so much more convenient to get a leg in and out of there. Minus the time that I've been sitting here talking to this camera, which is about almost 5 minutes, I have gone from a box full of parts to a almost rideable bike. Or actually, it is a rideable bike, and about 23 minutes. More or less 18 to 20 minutes, I got this pretty thing put together. Which has got to be a new record time for me. I don't know, but it went together very quickly, and I actually only had to look at the manual one time, but these instructions for assembly are super detailed, very easy to understand, and they put pictures right next to it, so even a goofball like me can figure out how to put the bike together. One thing that I've never really paid much attention to, but I want to make note of here. I was discussing this actually, I should say, with a friend of mine over this past weekend, and he asked me what the range was for these e-bikes that I've got. One of them actually gave to him, my very first one, and I told him I didn't really know. So I got to digging through this manual, and when you're in pedal assist mode, you can go anywhere between 60 and 80 miles. I'm not making it up. It's right here. Proof is in the manual. And if you're doing pure electric mode, you can go anywhere between 40 and 60 miles. Charging time is 4 to 5 hours, and the max angle of climb is 30 degrees, which is pretty dang steep. Max speed's 28 miles an hour, and the e-bike just by itself is 77 pounds. Has a max load capacity of 400 pounds. And I don't know if it's just that I've never really paid attention to these things, but 60 to 80 miles is a long stinking ways on an e-bike on one battery. I'm gonna have to go back and do some research on the previous bikes and see what their times are, but those sound like pretty stellar numbers to me. Way to go on that Rattan. That's pretty stellar. It looks more like a mountain bike to me. I haven't ridden it yet, but just sitting on it and seeing how it feels more like a mountain bike. The way it's all sets up. I can tell you one thing's for sure, there's different shocks on this than what I've ever been used to, or my other ones were just adjusted all the way up, but I can, with just a little bit of weight on the front handlebars, I can feel those shocks dig in and absorb some of my weight. That said, I'm very excited to see how this thing will ride. It may be the smoothest riding one I've ever been on. Got to get the battery off and get it charged, as well as put my front light on. We're for sure going to look at the front LED light. That is a key component. And then we got to get a fender or two slapped on as well. I have noticed their attention to detail. That is all encased down in there, and all those gears and everything else, they're not going to hold mud, they're not going to hold water. That's all sealed off, and that's really important for, you know, the hunting and the mess that I'm going to put this thing through. Looking at it from this angle, the gears, the chain, it looks like a stainless steel chain. I can put a magnet to it just to check and verify that, but everything back here looks super high quality. The brakes are out of this world, and just the rocking back and forth and pumping the brakes a little bit. But I have to say, as far as overall frame goes, got to be my favorite frame of an e-bike so far. Here we go. First power up on camera. So slick. It does 33.2 miles an hour in the sport mode. Mostly ready to go. I'm super pumped about this afternoon for a couple of reasons. Number one, my target buck was here yesterday afternoon at about 5:30, and it's about 4:45 right now. So I'm in early. These deer have been moving early. One of the things that excites me the most is this is the best south wind that I've had since deer season or bow season opened. So to say I'm pumped is an understatement. I've been waiting for a good wind like this for over 3 weeks, and it's finally here. It's a little warmer than I'd like for it to be, but I'm not gonna complain. I got a nice breeze, and I'm just gonna hope for a repeat of deer movement from yesterday afternoon to this afternoon. So here we go. Oh, and I made a little change with the e-bike. This is kind of common sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier. The shocks on the e-bike on the Rattan are
awesome, to say the least. But I also aired my tires down just a hair, and that has made the trail riding on these rougher trails that much better. Don't forget that there is a link down in the description below. Y'all go check out the Rattan bikes. I'm gonna get quiet now. Hopefully we'll have one of our target bucks here in roughly an hour. We'll see what happens. Doggone it. Well, that was wicked. And I stinking lost some fletchings again. That pig didn't make it far. I'm trying to do this quickly and quietly because I'm coming back in here in the morning to hunt the buck that literally just went 10 foot underneath my stand. The pig ruined it for me. I can't let him walk. Good grief. Right off the bat. I gotta try to cover this up. I'm deer hunting here in the morning. Holy cow. 9.5 boot for reference. That's wicked. Had an even run at all. Look over here too. Let's do all that. Dude. He's non-stop. I know he went right up underneath here. Yeah, so he ran right up out of here. my big light on, so it just doesn't do this BT justice, but let me tell you what. There he is. My gosh. Well, old boy didn't stand a chance. Bugs are terrible. Right through that shoulder was the exit. Quartering away. Man. It's about a 35, maybe 30-pound hog. I've watched this hog for like 4 or 5 months now. I have a history with him. He's hit or miss. He shows up like once or twice a week. He's always by himself. Usually never shows up more than 2 consecutive days. And in my final 10 minutes of shooting light, out walks him. About 5 minutes after that comes my target buck. And my target buck literally walks right past the pig and the feeder, walks 10 foot from the base of my tree stand, turns and goes directly behind me. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Deer somehow, I don't think ever smelled me. But this dude ruined it. If I'd had that final 2 minutes of shooting light, it would have been really low camera light. But I could have got the job done, I think, on a good buck. Nonetheless, I gotta go get the bike, which this is perfect. And I do mean absolutely perfect timing to have an e-bike. I gotta slip in here as quietly as I can, get this pig out of here, grab my bow, and get back out. I'm gonna be in here in the morning for a deer hunt, and I don't want to drive my side-by-side in here and blow everything out. Huge thank you to Rattan for sending the bike over and giving me the opportunity to hopefully seal the deal on a buck in the morning. Man, this has just been one of the weirdest, wildest, I don't know, deer hunts that I've ever had. I watched 4 different bucks tonight, one of them being my target deer. He just slipped right in out of nowhere in the last few minutes. I watched about a 3-year-old buck chasing does, and then I had like 2-year-olds or yearlings at the feeder that they don't have a care in the world. And the yearlings are usually always the first ones to start chasing. Anyway, it's just a weird night. I'm gonna go grab the bike, get out of here, grab this pig, and then get out of here. In some kind of order like that, but then we'll finish this video out. We're gonna set this pig up. One of those weird nights, but fun, super fun. Thank you, Lord. The camera doesn't do it justice, but that full moon coming up is pretty stinking cool. This headlight is wicked. It is so bright. We made it. Dude, this thing helped me out so much. I brought some rapid rope with me. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to hold it while I drive the bike attached to that guy, because I don't have a back platform to attach this to, but that's okay. We're gonna make the best of it, I can assure you. It straight up did it. It was a little hard on the hand and the wrist holding the rapid rope, but it sure enough did it. Well, what can I say? What a fun way to end the night. Not what I expected at all whatsoever. And what's so strange about this is all summer long, this little 30-pound lone boar right here would feed. He would intertwine with the deer. They would eat at the same feeder together for 20-30 minutes, either in the morning or in the evening, and never bothered the deer until now. So, hey, you win some, you lose some,
Being that I've had like a 5 to 6 month history with this little hog, he just showed up one day, never was consistent, had like a weird mutual friendship with the deer. But in 4 or 5 months in all of my hunts, this is the first time I've run into him, and I've been thinking about it. You know what? One of these days, we're gonna cross paths, and I'm gonna win. And I really had it out for him tonight, just because of how my final 5 minutes of shooting light went. Now to get to this broadhead, and by the way, stock archery arrows are just ridiculous, guys. These things are tough as nails. You guys go check them out down in the description below. Now let's chit chat about this broadhead real quick. So this is 1.5 inch cut there on the mechanical side. I think this is like a 3/8 or I'm sorry, 3/4 wide cut on the fixed part there. This side right here, still sticky sharp. This side right here, about the same. I can clean this thing up, maybe give it a little buff on the mechanical side of things, and it can go right back in the quiver. Now the fixed head portion of it, it's still a little sticky. One side's in a little bit rougher shape than the other. I can take a file to it and clean that right up. But what a neat little broadhead. And if you guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if y'all are worried about dipping your toes off into the mechanical game, this is a great head for you to give a go with. I'm gonna clean this thing back up, and it's gonna go right back in my quiver. Same thing with this arrow, and we're gonna take a whitetail with it, which was the whole purpose of tonight's video. But it took a little left turn, and I'm okay with that. I love sticking to pigs too. And as I mentioned earlier, I am deer hunting in the morning, and this thing right here, the Rattan Sequoia, it got me in there to grab this dude and get me out super duper quietly. That front LED is unbelievably bright. We had a ton of rain, and these roads are more or less red dirt with some clay, and between me driving side by side and the cows trekking up and down this thing, it gets really rough whenever it all dries out. This thing handled it smoothly, perfectly. I never felt out of control. Those adjustable shocks up front, along with keeping a little bit of air out of the tires, and a super comfortable seat, made everything go smoothly for me tonight. Another cool feature before I close this video out is when you cut this headlight on, that screen goes dim, so you don't have such a bright, blinding screen in your face. And like I said, it's out of this world, super bright. Very impressed with the Rattan bike, the Sequoia, sweet model. You guys go check it out. There will be a link down in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. And once again, a huge thank you to Rattan for sending this bike over for me to give it a test run to. I can't wait to get some more time and use on it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in just a few days. I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.